Alright, testing, testing, testing. Alright, there we go. Just making sure that my audio was good for the stream. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to LSR Group 3, Season number 9. We are here for Round 4 at Suzuka. And if Group 2 race was anything to go by, we have an exceptional race here for you guys today. Just to give you a little bit of the track information, we are here at the Japanese Grand Prix. The Suzuka circuit, the Honda-owned circuit, originally opened up in 1962, with very minor changes coming to the current year of 2025. It is 3.6 miles around, or 5.8 kilometers, with a lot of very famous corners, including 130R, the Degners, and Spoon. This track poses a lot of good overtaking opportunities, but not a whole lot of DRS zones, because DRS is only enabled for Sector 1 on the start-finish straight. As we see, Ollie has unfortunately left the session. We'll have to that, or he retired from the session. I don't think he outright left the lobby. So hopefully we don't have to do a host change, because otherwise that will probably bring out a lobby reset. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead. We have a short qualifying here today, so only one qualifying session, as opposed to full quality that you see in F1 with the 3-stage knockout quali. So we have a lot of drivers on track, a lot of rapid drivers, so while these cars are going to go ahead and begin their outlaps, we'll go on board with the Ferrari of Insight as he makes his way through the first set of corners. So let's go ahead and just talk about some of the standings here in Group 3 as it stands. So, last race out, it was a Mercedes win in Singapore with the driver of Avni Oke, who this time is a McLaren. So he won the last race out in Singapore, coming up from P17 to get first place. Now taking a look at the driver standings, your top three are Avni Oke, who is actually a reserve driver, so he kind of bounces around from team to team. We have Darwizi in the Williams, and Suat, who's also a reserve driver. So good stuff there from the beginning of Group 3. Mercedes tops the constructors standings at the moment with a nice solid 89 points and a 13-point lead on second place Williams with 76. And yeah, we're going to have some really exceptional racing here today at Suzuka. So, do we have any bold predictions on who's going to go ahead and get pole position? Let us know in the comment section down below. We'll see. And I believe Insight will stay on board with the Ferrari driver, because he will be, I believe, our first actual representative hot lap here. So he's going to go ahead and start. He's making the run up to turn 1, the only DRS zone enabled for this entire track as of the making of this game. Very good stuff there. He's going to go ahead and make his way through the S's, through the snake corners here. These are aptly named corners. Very tricky. If you get it wrong, you can throw your whole lap into the trash. So these corners are crucial to having a solid lap time. We see a Ferrari going around in Sector 3. That is the other Ferrari of Ben Hardy. He's making so back to the other Ferrari, who's currently on lap. He makes his way through the Degner corners absolutely beautifully. He's coming up to the hairpin that leads up to 200R. This is a pretty tricky hairpin. You got to get the exit absolutely perfect, using a lot of the curb there on the exit of that corner. Coming up now to Spoon. Spoon curve is another very famous corner around this Japanese circuit. He's making good time so far. It's going to be pretty much purples by default because no one else is setting representative lap times as of yet. Coming up to the last sector, which it just has the second half of the backstretch and 130R. In the Casio triangle, it's a purple sector too, to the surprise of no one. He's going to go ahead and round out this very tricky chicane. Now, if you take too much curb here on the chicane, it could just go all sorts of wrong for you. He nails it pretty good. Good enough for a 130.061. a good solid lap time from the Ferrari. We're going to go ahead and go on board with the race winner from last week, as Explosive Reaper goes ahead and sets the fastest time of the session, a 1:29.4 in the Alpine. Amazing stuff there from the French car. So we'll see if the race winner from last time out has anything to say coming up into this qualifying. Can he keep the momentum going that it had in Singapore? It is a purple one, so that is a very encouraging start to his qualifying run here at the moment. He looks like he locks up the brakes ever so slightly going into the hairpin there. There is a bit of a blue flag or yellow flag up ahead. Apparently I'm colorblind today. And that is a Williams kind of just sitting on track. Hopefully it does not impede Avni. He goes way off track, so that's not going to be any kind of impeding. Excellent stuff there from the McLaren and from the Williams to get out of the way. We'll see if it's a purple sector 2 time as well. It is. So this is looking like it's going to be good for top of the timing tables here in Suzuka, but there's a Red Bull in the way. Hope that is the Red Bull of Mad Dog. Hopefully that won't be an impeding charge onto the Red Bull, and hopefully it didn't mess up Envy's time. That's a good time. He might have got impeded in that last sector. It's good enough for P3 at the moment. And now we're going to go on board with Soupy. Soupy had a time, but it was invalidated to the track limits. We'll go with Folks in the Haas. We'll just see where he ends up getting placed. Very smooth there through that second chicane. Coming up to the last corner. We'll see where he goes. He's got the run up. A good exit from the chicane. And it's good enough for P5, just ahead of Pancakes. Now, we'll see who we can go on board with next. Ollie will not be participating in this qualifying session. He already retired. Unfortunate stuff there for one of the 2 Mercedes currently driving. Mercedes is on top of the constructor standings at the moment. So this is not quite the qualifying start that the German manufacturer would have wanted. We'll go on board with the Kick Sauber. Let's see if he continues his lap or decides to go into the pits. He's going a bit slow, so I assumed he was going to make the shot into the pit lane. I mean, you got a good amount of time left. I believe we're down to around like 10 minutes left on this session. We'll see. Okay, 11 minutes left on the session. We're on board now with the Haas. He's coming up to Spoon. Spoon is another deceptively tricky hairpin. It's a hairpin that I personally struggle at when I race around here. But he executes it absolutely perfect. Coming up the backstretch now, which honestly I do think there should have been a DRS still placed here. But there isn't one. But he is not up on his time in the slightest. Almost 5 seconds off of his prior race time. And that is not what you want to see in qualifying. But still about 10 minutes left. So there's still a good amount of time to make some decent progress. And honestly, the one thing I have learned is that you definitely do not want to just go ahead and rest on your laurels here. Because as soon as you say, okay, you know what, this is a good enough time, you're going to go from a P3 all the way down to P13. What happened there? Oh, not enough remaining players to start the session. That is a, that's an interesting one. We'll have to see what race control says about that. Yeah, okay, I guess I just got removed from the session altogether. So I'll just have to attempt to get an invite. Let's just go ahead and see if we can get that back in. Yeah, so that was just unfortunately a server disconnect. We do apologize for that. Folks will get back in as soon as humanly possible. Technical difficulties are an unfortunate common issue with this game. We'll just go ahead and wait for that invite to come through. In the meantime, never mind. We are not going to have a meantime because we're going to go ahead and get an invite. Awesome job from Ollie. Thank you, good sir. Alright, we're going to just go ahead and get back in. Hopefully we don't have another similar disconnect. apparently I'm not the only driver that, or well, I'm not a driver, but I'm not the only person who ended up with a disconnect. We are coming back into the session. Thank you, good sir Ollie. And we are back. It does beat a full game crash, because that can also happen. So we're going to load back into qualifying, and we'll pick up from where we left off. All right, beautiful. All right, so in the meantime, since we had our unfortunate disconnect, Stuart has actually went ahead and set the fastest lap time of qualifying. It is a pole position time at the moment with a 1:29.129. Very aesthetically pleasing time there for the Williams. Williams are currently P2 in the constructors here in Group 3, so that is definitely going to be really good for the Williams squad. So we're down to about 7 minutes of qualifying. We're going to go on board. Let's see. Okay. Once Aboli, I probably mispronounced it. I do apologize. Once he gets off of his lap, we'll go ahead and get on board with the Esteban driver. One of only 4 drivers who have yet to set a time here in qualifying here for Group 3 Suzuka. It'll be interesting because, especially as the track gets more and more rubbered in, as we see one of the Mercedes get a little bit messed up, and actually Favoli just loses it into the chicane there. So he's not gonna really start good because you need a lot of momentum coming there out of the chicane. We'll stay on board with him. Dubsy has been disqualified for blocking the pit lane. So that's one Alpine out of the running already. The other Alpine is on top of the timetable with a 1:28. So he's going to start from the back of the grid. He's going to start behind Ollie, who has not even set a time. So Baboli, we're going to stay on board with the Aston Martin driver. He's coming up to the detectors now. Excellent corner there. Now, it's very easy to go a bit too wide on the first one and the second one. The first one's a bit trickier than the first one. And it is unfortunate stuff there as I am reading through the Discord. Unfortunate stuff there for Dubsy. Slowing down to let a car go through and then gets disqualified for it. That is just an unfortunate occurrence. Hopefully we'll see him have a good charge through the race. Because Suzuka is a track you can definitely overtake on. Lots of really strong straightaways, including the back straight and the sole DRS zone from the last corner up into the first corner. And yeah, so actually we'll go back on board with Baboli. He's on the backstretch now. Ollie has actually left the session. That was the lobby host. So it is currently just not been a great day here. Poor connection and technical issues. We have been seeing those quite a bit, unfortunately. He goes into the pits. He's not satisfied with his lap. We'll go on board this time with Carmad. Carmad Cal, never mind, he's in the pit. Alright, so we'll go with... Actually, we'll with our race winner from Singapore. We'll go on board with Anthony. I'll have to actually see. I might have to actually... So I think Ollie got hit with the same situation that we did earlier on stream, where it just disconnected the entire lobby. So I'll actually go ahead. I do apologize. You're going to see a little bit of a pause screen. We're going to go ahead and get Ollie back in. Send him an invite. We'll get the Mercedes man back in. Not sure who the host is. I think the only way we would be able to see this is to go back to the main menu. Alright, so we're down to the last 4 minutes and 20 seconds left of this qualifying session. Just under 4.5 minutes to go. And outlap does take a bit of time here, so a lot of these drivers are going to want to get out. But you also got traffic to contend with as we're on board with the V-Carb of Dalton. Making mighty good progress there. Ollie is back in the session. He's got a purple sector 1. That is very, very promising there for the V-Carb. Let's see what he can do. Can he go ahead and keep up that momentum? He's going through the hairpin now. About to go up to 200 yards, leading up to the spoon. Is he going to spoon feed himself up to the podium pole position here in Japan? He's rocketing through. Good on the hairpin. Excellent stuff there from Dalton, the RB driver, on the backstretch now. We'll see if he can improve. Is it going to be a purple sector 2 as well? Not quite. We'll go ahead and put the lap date up. He's still up, though. He's still up 0.2 of a second, almost 2.5 of a second there. As it comes to the Casio triangle, going through the chicane. Excellent stuff there. Coming through the last corner. Where's it going to be? It's not going to be enough for pole position, but it's good for P3. 0.4 up on his time. It's a purple sector 3. He just could not quite get it done in the second sector to go ahead and take provisional pole position. We are down to 3 minutes of the session. It gets really dicey there between Ewok and Mad Dog. Red Bull. Really close. Not exactly social distancing there on the track at the moment. Seeing a few yellow flags coming out as the slow-moving V-Carb and Red Bull machinery. As we see the hairpin, very masterful there from Ewok. The Mercedes driver going to go ahead. He's making the road to the spoon. The spoon is the part where you can break a lot of time, as we have seen before. Beautiful, beautiful. Onto the backstretch. You got to be careful not to take too much of the outside curb, or else your lap will be invalidated. He prevented that. Let's see if it's a purple sector 2. He is 0.4 up on spot. Not quite a purple sector, but still in 0.4. That will move him on quite a few positions, and actually that would be good for almost pole position. I'll put him at least around, maybe around P3, give or take. Never mind, I'm wrong. It is good enough for P5. We'll go on board with the McLaren of Nanders as he gets a little bit squirrel there onto the hairpin. Unfortunate stuff there, but let's see if he can still make a time out of it. Right now, any time would be better than no time at the moment because he does not have the time on the board for the McLaren. Dalton has retired. He thinks this time is going to be good enough. I mean, you're down to minute 20 left, so you can't really make another out lap anyway. So this will be probably like a lap and a half left for a lot of these remaining drivers. For Nander and Pavoli, it is pretty much going to be make or break here for the lap time. Because if you have to try to go in the game, making a build is not going to be easy. Locks up the brakes, but he makes a good exit. The McLaren driver, we'll see where he goes. Coming up for P12 time, but Pavoli moves up to P7. So out of those 2 times, Pavoli gets the better. He's up in the P7. We'll see who else is going to be an improvement. Suzuka is on an outlap now. He's going to have to try to cross the line before time runs out. I just don't know if he can. He's got 30 seconds to do it. It's going to be make or break there for the Alpine if he wants to improve. And Suad did get across the line. I was expecting the wrong car. My apologies, chat. So, going back to the race, or to the rest of this qualifying session, we're going to be on board. We're actually going to go into the airbox of the Williams, and then go ahead and make it to pole position. He's got a purple sector 1. He's just got to make a counter sector 2, and I think he does get a little spoil there. Sanders is done with this contested. He's satisfied for P12. Kyle does not approve. But there's a slow-moving Ferrari coming up to 200 way off the racing line, so there'll be probably no further investigation there. McLaren's slow-moving. He pulls off way into the grass. Gets up, but he just loses it there. Onto the spoon. That might be his pole position time, slipping away through his fingertips. We'll see what the time delta is when it comes across the line for sector 2. He is half a second up. That would be good enough for pole position, I believe. No, he's just got to make it count here in the last sector here. We'll go back onto the third person POV. Will it be good enough for pole position from the Williams? We'll see where it sits. It's not good enough for pole. He must have made a mistake there in the chicane. He did not improve his time or his position. P2 there for the Williams. Abney is really the only other driver that could possibly contend here. He is a 10th up on his previous time. but that will not be enough for pole position. It wouldn't be enough to improve its position either. As qualifying is wrapped up, we're going to go ahead and see. He's coming around the last corner. Will he be able to improve his position? He'll improve his time, but not his position. And qualifying wrapped up. Left. Go ahead, and that's an invalidated lap. So that is qualifying wrapped up here. And ladies and gentlemen, Explosive Reaper will take pole position here, followed by Suet, Dalton, Insight, Abney, Ben Hardy, Rafoli, Oak, Requiem, Pancake, Landon, Kyle, Soupy, Bad Dog, unfortunate drivers that 6% of time, Ollie, and Dubsy, who was disqualified, unfortunately. So, that is your starting grid for this race, ladies and gentlemen. We'll run back through what appears on the official timing tables. So, we have an excellent race here ahead of us. A lot of overtaking opportunities are possible. All right, so going back through, we have Explosive Reaper in P1 with a 128.848. Stuart in the Williams, followed by Dalton, Insight, Avni, Enoch, Ben, Rivoli, Spoke, Requiem, Pancake, Nander, Kyle, Snoopy, Bad Dog, and then Ollie and Dubsy are your final two drivers on the grid. Excellent stuff there from these drivers here in Group 3. And I think we have a very exciting race ahead of us. Suzuka presents a lot of good overtaking opportunities. We'll see how many of those drivers make those risks. And I mean, strategy is going to be a bit of a play here too. We have just under 30 laps here in this race. So I believe it's going to be a hard to medium or medium to hard are going to be your default strategies. We did see rain though in Group 2. It's a clear sunny sky here in Japan, so not likely for this race. But you never know what the weather holds if it's anything bipolar like Florida. Which is going to go ahead and wait for the drivers to load in. And then we're going to go ahead and get started here in Group 3, round number 4 in Japan. Make sure you guys are subscribed here to Lightning Speed Racing here on YouTube. You don't want to miss any of the action from any of our groups here, Group 1, 2, and 3. We had an excellent race in Group 2 earlier on. And I think this race is going to be equally as spectacular. So, we have those 5 red lights coming on and going out. And the Japanese Grand Prix is underway. It is lights out and away we go. It's a good start there from Suat. Suat has the inside line. He's going to make the overtake into turn number 1. We're seeing a good amount of movement up and down the grid. Excellent stuff there from these drivers, keeping it clean, but there is a car turned around there in the back of the bike. The Haas boat. He had a contact somewhere. Unfortunate there from the Haas driver. He had a pretty decent starting position. And now it's going to be Suat who play Japanese Grand Prix here in LSR Group 3 for F1 24. Good stuff there. Now, Explosive Reaper is going to want to stay in the DE range because there's a lot of good overtakes on this track on this track. That is between the last and first corners. Here, DRS will be enabled at the beginning of next lap. So you won't see DRS this time around, but on the second pass, so technically lap 3 is when DRS will become usable. So we're seeing some position changes up and down the grid. We're going to go ahead and take a look at Dubsy, who from starting last place on the grid is making some excellent progress now, up into P12 already. Same with Ollie. Ollie's up into P10. He's up into the points. He locks the brakes ever so slightly. Stuart will set the fastest of this race. DRS will be enabled at the beginning of lap number 3. For this, that's when DRS will be available. Not available on the start-finish straight because usually 9 times out of 10, the start-finish straight usually, or the DRS zone, sorry, starts before the start-finish straight even begins. So typically it'd be the next DRS zone, but this track is only a singular DRS zone. So we're seeing a bit of repairs going on for the kick Sauber of Pancake. So it must have been that contact earlier with Folks. But he might be able to go to the end on this tire. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at the tires everybody's running. So some interesting tire choices here. We have the top 7 running on mediums, with Ollie being the only driver on the soft tire compound. Explains why he was able to just rocket up the order as he did. I mean, there's a lot of really aggressive corners that you can use the softs on, especially through the snake corners. As folks left the session, so that's the Haas's race. Unless he had a disconnect, we'll just have to go ahead and see. I'll check Discord to see if he's got a DNF. Alright, just checking. So far, I think he just outright left. I haven't seen anything in a disconnect or request to re-invite to lobby. So only after 2 laps on the soft tires, Ollie comes into the pits. He might have had some damage there, or maybe he's going to try to go on a harder tire. And Ollie's out of the session. He went to the pits to just outright retire. So unfortunate there for the Mercedes. Mercedes, as we mentioned before, are on top of the Constructors' Championship for Group 3 as it sits. And right now, we're going to go on board with, there's going to be a battle here between Reaper and Dalton. V-Carb, Alpine, going to be battling it out here for P2. We'll see if any moves can be made. But all this battling is continuing to knock off into the distance, leaving the battling cars behind. To see in these types of races, the battle for P2 is so intense that P1 just kind of waltzes off into distance as we have another driver who left the session. Landers will go ahead and disconnect from the McLaren. I'm going to go ahead and keep an eye on Discord. Just looking Discord, we see that Ollie has forgot his setup. So not the ideal setup that he wants for Suzuka. So that is his race done. He raced earlier on today in Group 2, so I know he's already tired as is. As we see Explosive Reaper get a little screwing on the paint there. That's inside. He's going to like a move around the outside of turn 1. He's got the correct. Slow moving guy McLaren of Landers. If he was able to get back into the session or not. Hopefully he did. But now the battle that was going on for P2 is P3. As the race win from Singapore is going to go ahead and try to move. He was thinking about trying to move up into the inside at the Degners, but decides against it. Decides to live to fight another day. We'll go on board now for McLaren. Making a good line around the hairpin there. As we go into 200 leading into the 2. It's going to be a battle now. Now, Insight is going to have to fight to protect his position from that Alpine behind him. The V-Carb gaining a little bit of distance away from the Ferrari in P3. Stuart is just waltzing off into the distance ever so slightly in that Williams. 130R is such a beautiful corner. You can go flat out. We've seen some very spicy overtakes here. The Winter World here in Division. So we'll see if Avenue's going to go and make a move on. Got pole position. Unfortunately, not having the best of races here. Lots of the brakes. He's going to try to make a move into the snakes. Decides against it, but that was a very optimistic look for a move here. I don't say on the road to 24 Grand Prix. We saw Yuki Tsunoda making good usage of those corners for overtaking here at Japan. This is the Suzuka International Circuit. Now Abby is looking very, very aggressive here. Being very likely to try to make a move onto inside here in the next few corners. But he's got Reaper right behind him as Ben Hardy makes a move onto Ewok, who Ewok didn't have a disconnect, so he's just passing the AI. Gonna take a quick drink there. But yeah, this has been a very solid race start. I believe Ollie is inviting Ewok. If not, then that is something that I can take care of real quick. Ollie, the coach. Now, Ewok will be able to hopefully retake his car. We did see a few issues with it in Group 2 where cars were just to go ahead and on their car. Now, speaking of taking control, inside with that DRS, is going to go ahead and take control of P2. He's going to move up a spot by putting that Ferrari into second place as it fits. Now he's got to chase down Tuat in the Williams, but that Williams just is gone. That Williams is just keeping the gap. Continues. Having potentially looking to make another position change. He's looking to maybe move up another position. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and actually take a look at the position changes here for a bit. Avni has moved up one position, Inside moved up two. Tuat moved up three. Now the biggest mover has got to be Dubsy, and that's looking very dicey there. But the McLaren just locks up his brakes. That can be scary. That could put your heart down into your stomach. So close to the car ahead and so close to the car behind you. When you're in the middle like that, it could just create a pile up that would have definitely brought out a safety car here. We'll see if a move can be done here to go ahead and take a position going up to 131. Not quite close enough. And Inside right now is just losing time, having to defend from Dalton and Abney. It's just having a very solid race here. Group 3 just waltzing off into the sunset. A defensive move. We're going to go on board now with the V-car driver. Taking one around the outside. We'll see if there's a switch back. Maybe. No, not quite. Inside. Beautiful positioning there. Now, maybe a move coming up to the snake here as we see Carmack Cow get a 3-second penalty for corner cutting. That's going to drop him into the position. Or no, he's actually going to get that distance away. It's not going to affect his race hardly. Snoopy's going to get a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That's unfortunate. That's not what you want to see. Dalton gets a 3-second penalty for track limits. And I mean, that's spots to get track limit penalties for. It is so easy to have so much momentum, and Sophie is retired, so that is one Williams done. Unfortunate stuff there for the Williams team at the moment. Now we're gonna go ahead. 2-3. Lots of battling back and forth. He's got the entire line. Oh, maybe Dalton can overtake. Now, we're trying to make that overtake stick. He's not fantastic, but let's wait, TRS train here. We can't do it at the moment. Dalton on track. Going a bit wide there on and it's a safety car. Carman Kyle, I think it's the cause of the safety car. He is out of this race. Damage there, the V car. And this is going to back the pack up very nicely, like a can of sardines when we hit the restart in a few laps time. Mad Dog goes ahead and gets a 10-second penalty for speeding in a pit lane. Excuse me. I do think this is going to be a really good moment for a lot of these drivers to pit in. We know the hard tires are very strong in F1 24. So we can go ahead and safely assume that we're going to see quite a few of these front-running drivers hitting into this race. Going on to the hard tire and then going to try to make it all the way to the end. Now the question is if you don't pit in, how much trouble are you going to be in from drivers that have pitted in? That's the question. You're going to lose significantly less time going into the pits under the safety car as you would opposed to the pitting in regularly during the race. But it's also quite a bit of a gamble just because you're going to have to make the hard time combat. We're going to see Suzuka coming to the pits, Dalton coming into the pits, and Sight coming into the pits. So a lot of these drivers are now coming into the pits. We'll see if any of these other drivers get pit speeding penalties. So far, none yet. I can assume a lot of these drivers are going to go ahead and switch to the hard tire compound. We're going to actually go ahead and switch to that now. Yep, we're seeing a lot of these drivers switch onto the hard tire. Now, Ben Hardy and Dubsy are going to be on the medium, so they may be praying for another safety car to come out, because it's going to be a long race to go ahead and get those medium tires to the end of this race. So let us know in the comment section down below. Who do you think is going to go ahead and take this win? Do you think it was the right time to pit, or should the drivers have waited? Let us know in the comment section down below. Be sure to drop a like here on the stream and turn notifications on. This is the last race when it comes to. But let me stick around. We have a launch series coming up. Series for LSR, so if you fancy endurance racing, you'll definitely want to check them. More information will be coming soon. It'll be posted on our socials. But be sure to go ahead and follow us on Instagram as well. I believe it is Lightning Speed Racing. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong on that. Yeah, just be sure you follow us on the socials. Subscribe with notifications here on YouTube. That way you'll stay up to date with everything going on. And if you want to join this field of very talented drivers, go ahead and join our Discord. Or if you want to maybe take part in that upcoming Le Mans Ultimate Series that we'll be running with, go ahead and join the Discord as well, because if you remember correctly, due to sign up, there's still some slots available on Hypercar. So if you fancy driving prototype machinery, then go ahead and check them out. Or if you want to drive the fun cars, go ahead and join the Discord. Then the admins will go ahead and take care of you. We're seeing some people in chat. Hello, people in the YouTube chat. And we see Ben Hardy saying he started on the hard. I want to see how this medium and hard tire, or how long these tires are just going to last, how the strategy is going to go ahead and play out. One race to go ahead and try to make it stick on those medium tires. So, but we know the hards are going to go ahead and take a beating too as well. So it's really going to come down to who's got the pace while managing the tires. Because this track will go ahead and chew through your tires a bit more than, say, a track like Monza or Baku or any of those more straight line oriented tracks. Not as much as a Barcelona or like Interlagos or Hungary. I knew there was a track that was kind of slipping on my mind at the moment. But yeah, I think it's here. Coming into the last part of this race as we start the second half here ever so shortly. I believe we will have at least one more lap of safety car, trying to keep those heat and those fresh hard and medium tires that we see on the grid at the moment. And yeah, I think we have a really exciting race ahead of us. Now, Insight is going to be one of the drivers to keep an eye on, because he's got fresh rubber and he's technically in P2 because of Dalton's 3-second time penalty. So it's going to be very good for insight right now. He's going to have the best chance he's got to win this race because of the safety car restart. But he can go to the end on the tires. He might be begging for mercy ever so slightly, but he can do it. But here's the thing. If there's another safety car, that is going to be a miracle worker for the media. In the late stages of this race, I'm going to be a little optimistic and say lap 20. There's an incident where a safety car is caught on lap 20. And I think a lot of these drivers could just switch to the soft tire compound if they have any left. And then they got a really rapid tire to get through the last 8 laps on. So, very interesting stuff. We will go around for at least one more guided tour around the Suzuka circuit behind the Mercedes CrowdStrike safety car. So, as we go around for this next lap, I want to ask you all in chat, how are you guys doing on this fine Sunday morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on where you're watching from? How are you guys doing today? Hope you guys are staying hydrated. Oh, we are migrating hosts. Oh boy. I wonder what result that is going to bring. Because we know F124 can be a little temperamental, just to say the least, when it comes to servers and hosts and all that jazz. We've seen a few disconnects here already as it sits. And even, and I do apologize for this, even a little bit of stuttering of the cards on screen. Just a bit, nothing super terrible, at least not from my perspective. It might be worse on screen. But yeah, hopefully that doesn't affect too much. It doesn't look like it has. It's good. Hopefully we will have a safety car in this lap, so we can get back to green flag conditions, because there's some really good racing. We see almost a little bit of contact there between, I believe that was Abney and Reaper. Almost colliding a bit there. Or no, that might have been, I want to say that was Reaper and Avni. That might have been Avni. I still think it was the McLaren and the Alpine. But regardless, doesn't look like there's any damage, so crisis averted. Yeah, so while we wait, I'm just going to go ahead and actually, I guess I'll wait and see if we actually do another tour of this track. But, oh, never mind. We are going green this lap. So you won't have to hear me ramble on about the track history, at least not yet. And we're about to go green. That is going to take us to green. He's backing up the pack. Trying to make sure that his opponent's tires are going to get cooled down a bit. What's the front? Here in Suzuka, what's he? He's got the exit heat, but because a little swirl there on exit. That's going to provide a good opportunity. There's also a back screen underway here in Suzuka. Mad Dog gets a 3-second penalty for track limit. Pancakes is out of possession. Over Johnny Dusty. And Suhat continues his race exactly where he's started out. Williams driving, making good progress. We'll go ahead and bring up the Both of Reaper not having a good race, as we see being get a low score. Clark is going to go ahead and get the track limit penalty for a 3-second time penalty for track limits, unfortunately, but it is pretty easy to do on this track. Suzuka is one of the trickier tracks to race on, whether in a fun car or a type of vehicle, especially if it is raining, which it's not raining here at the moment. So that is definitely going to be, that's definitely a bonus, because otherwise I think we see quite a few more cars slipping and sliding. We did see rain coming out in 2 earlier on, which made racing very, very interesting. So now, good stuff here from all these drivers. I mean, keeping it clean and keeping it close. while DRS will be enabled this lap, no one is going to have it for lap 13. It'll be lap 14 due to the fact that there's only one DRS zone. And on all these tracks, the start finish straight DRS zone not activate because the DRS zone before the lap does. So, even if you are 1 second behind the car ahead, then you just don't get DRS because the activation isn't fully there yet. Into the pit. Will that be another retirement there? Will we see retirement number 5? Or is it the tire change? Tire change is the medium. He's betting on the safety car, I'm assuming. Which is possible. But that grid has spread out quite a bit. We'll go on board with this battle between Folks and Nander. 2 AI cars. Yeah, I believe these are 2 AI drivers, so we'll go ahead and pivot to another battle. We'll go race. Started on the hard tire compound, and he's gonna go ahead and try to make a move. Got a good slipstream. He just decides against it. He decides that he's going to take his chances. Looks like there might be a little bit of contact there. There's definitely contact there. They both go straight off. Off the chicane there. The 2 cars just lock it together. Into the wall. That is heartbreaking stuff for the Aston Martin. That's definitely going to be missed out by the stewards. He's going to run off track. McLaren and Haas, but that overtaking in that chicane is so dangerous. Extremely risky to try to make a move into that chicane. That right there shows exactly why. You get too close to a car and you both lock up, you both have damage, and you both just get sent off into the chicane and into a wall. Surprised that there's no damage on the Ferrari of Ben. There was definitely a lot of damage on the Aston Martin of Requiem. So that's his race basically done. Him and Dubsy basically out of contention for points as it sits right now. Going back to the front of the grid, Dalton has made an overtake, but he's got a 3-second time penalty for track limit. So, unless that gets removed post-race by the stewards, he's still currently at a disadvantage. But Suat gets a 3-second penalty for track limit. So now, what happens on track? Inside is going to go ahead and think. Once it gets a little dodgy there, that's a maneuver goes all the way around between Williams and Ferrari. It's the dodge. Suat is just not letting that corner go easy. Glaring into this. Happy, the race winner from Singapore, in the minutes. Right now, he's currently on the net 2-2 because of the penalties of Dalton. Right. But now, are we going to see what we saw earlier in the race here between Suat kind of just tooth and nail, like they're Roman gladiators back under the rule of Emperor Nero. Oh, it's late on the race for Abney was thinking about making a move, but just does not quite get it done. Ahead. 1-2, or 3, sorry. We'll keep Abney behind. Like, almost out of DRS range. Car ahead now. There's really only one DRS zone on this track. So, he's got to stay within the rear. I apologize for that. That DRS zone to actually have a chance to just race contention. He's definitely getting time there on that chicane. But he's got to be careful not to battle with the Williams of Suat too long. We're going to go ahead and pull up the penalties here. 3 seconds for Dalton Suat and Ewok, and 13 seconds for the Red Bull of Mad Dog. So those are your penalties for this race. So this whole podium is going to get shaken up a bit with these penalties. I think this right now, though, does look like Dalton will stay on the podium if he finishes in this position because of explosive Reaper behind by 6 seconds, and then Ewok behind him has a 3-second penalty himself. Yep. But a lot of racing going on here between Stuart and Insight. These two drivers are battling to the nails. Actively battling. If they're not careful, they can take both of each other out of this race. Dalton is going to play with this one. So very exciting stuff here. If you haven't subscribed already, you're definitely going to want to, because this is intense racing. And you definitely do not want to miss any more intense racing than we have going on here at LSR. We'll see if there's going to be any position changes. Going into turn number 1. Inside pulling away ever so slightly. Another brake lockup for Abney. Abney almost collides with the Williams. That would have been disaster for both of those drivers. It just would have been so painful because Abney's got momentum from Singapore that he wants to go ahead and try to keep. While Williams is trying to take P1 in the Constructors' Championship right now, as they said P2 are 13 positions behind, or 13 points behind the Mercedes. And right now, there's one Mercedes and one Williams out of this race. The Williams is now going to go be P2 on track. He locks the brakes up, gets a really good car position there. And Suat will go ahead and retake P2 brakes on track. He does have that 3-second time penalty though. So he will drop. I would assume behind Abney. Inside and Abney will be the drivers remaining on the podium. Falling away a lot from the Williams there. We're going to see a move to 130 up. We're going to go forward with the lap for the remainder of this lap. And we're going to stand on that. No, not quite. Car positioning. He did not like the opportunity for Abney to go ahead and make a move, but he's got DRS now. That pass is going to be super easy. Nothing inside to do about it. Abney's up to P number 3 on track. He'll be P1 on at the end of this race. But right now, Abney is out of DRS range for Stuart. So he can definitely come ahead and take that position because he will be in that DRS range. So we're just going to have to go ahead and see how this race plays out. So now, we're going to go on board with Ewok. I believe it is the real Ewok driving that car. I don't believe it is an AI. He's closing the gap to Explosive Reaper. Now, Baboli will go and get a 3-second time penalty. As we see these penalties fly in now. Aston Martin just not having the greatest of weekends here. But I don't think Baboli is actually going to lose any real position here unless he makes an overtake onto Ewok. Because of Ben Hardy being several seconds down. He's 7 seconds down. We're going to post a penalty once again. Yeah, it's only 3 seconds for Baboli. So he's not going to lose any positions. As Stuart and Dalton are going to fight. We saw a fight happen here in the chicane. It did not go well for either driver. Going okay here. Check this out. Dalton actually has DRS, it looks like. May have been just a camera angle. But Dalton did extend his lead to over a second, so I think he did have DRS because of the very peculiar detection zones on this track and just in F124 general. Very intense racing here from these drivers. We have less than 10 laps remaining. We have 9 laps to go, including this lap. Mad Dog just getting another penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That brings him up to 26 seconds in the penalties. His race is just becoming undone by the second. Side's race is also kind of becoming undone as well. I mean, he's still in position for a podium, as both Dalton and Stewart will drop down because of the 3-second penalties. Unless they are removed from the Stewart's post-race, and Dalton gets a little squirrely on the exit of the spoon there, coming up into the back stretch. So that might open up the door for Suat to go ahead and make a move. Mad Dog with another 10-second penalty, bumping him up to, I believe, 36 seconds of penalties. I'm not showing on the timetable, but that is, I believe, 36 seconds of penalties for the Red Bull. Red Bull has just not had the greatest of seasons here. Currently, I believe they're P10 in the constructors right now in Group B with a total of only 8 points. 1 point behind Kickstarter with 9 points. But it just looks like that is just going to stay the same as we come down to the last 8 laps of this race. It is good. Like I mentioned before, if you have not subscribed to LSR, you need to. Because we have some very super races coming up. We have Saudi Arabia as the next race here. And I believe, actually, we see the front left block up there for the flare end of Avni, but he got it closer to Suat. I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do, but those tires definitely have a bald spot on it at the moment. As we see, Suat looking for the on-track lead. It's dicey between the Williams and the B car. Very dicey stuff there from these top 2 drivers. We're going to see a move up to 130R, the first one of the race here for the lead. We're going to see Dalton taking around the outside, going to the chicane. Car positioning is going to go to prevail for Dalton there. But it's going to be the a big spin. A big swing out for Avni, and that is his race coming undone at the seam as the grip just loses out there on the exit of that corner. Avni is going to move up. He's looking to take 2 race wins in a row. He won in single. Barring no incident. Man, I gotta take a drink after that one. Now I'm gonna go ahead and remind you guys watching at home, stay hydrated. Make sure you're drinking plenty of water, especially if you're racing either today or you raced earlier, or you're like me, commentating on some of the finest driving I've seen racing or in Suzuka. Because honestly, this is intense. I'm sweating here and I'm in the commentary box. I'm not even on track. Some very amazing driving here, especially from these top 4 right now. Duat is going to go ahead and make a move onto inside. It'll be for on-track position, but not quite actual race position because on the Casio triangle came. Another penalty. Go ahead and do a tire life count. And we see them move now for P3 again. While these drivers on the 16th lap. And they pitted in the safety car. The medium just kind of fell off of a cliff there. Big cliff there. So we kind of knew that the mediums would be probably the optimal choice for this race. Especially in the event of a safety car, which we did get one. So now those hard tires, which we know are extremely strong in F124, they're going to be just the tire to go on, and I see a lot of smoke there. Lots of brake locking, although I do know that there's more smoke produced than there normally would be. I know that was a bug that was brought in a few updates ago. but still some exceptionally clean driving here. Now, Avni, the race winner from Singapore in the McLaren, the reserve driver who competed for Aston Martin and McLaren, or Mercedes. He was Mercedes last time out. McLaren this time. He was thinking about moving to the chicane. He must have got word from his race engineer that, you know, there's the guys that have tried that overtake and just did not do super well. Let's see, and actually, Avni is the championship leader as we come down to 5 laps remaining. It's going to be a dicey overtake going into the first corner, leading into the snake. But it was masterfully well done there from the reserve driver who is currently on top of the driver standings. He has got nothing but podiums so far in LSR this season. Second place in Budapest. Second place at Silverstone. He took the race win in Singapore. And now, if he can finish these 5 laps and he will take the race win here in hand. And it'll be a lot of good points for McLaren. Now, maybe it's due to scheduling or something. I am not sure, but if Avni does not have a penalty before the season ends, that would be travesty. This driver has shown some exceptional pace here today at McLaren and throughout the season. Nothing but podiums. His worst finish is P2. That is exceptional stat line to have. As we see another battle here for P3. Brakes locking up from the front 2. We're seeing a lot of battle through the chicane. Excellent stuff there from all these drivers. We'll see if Dalton can go and take the lead on track. He will. It'll be relatively unopposed. He has DRS. The McLaren did not. We'll see the same. Making a little bit of a snap there from Dalton, but he did not seem to lose a lot of time there from the McLaren, especially on 15 lap hard tires. That sector is very tricky to get right. Very easy to kind of lose the back end of that car, especially if you're running a bit less DRS downforce on the rear wing. Avni is very, very close now to the leader of the race on track. I thought we were actually about to see an overtake onto the hairpin, which would have been there from the McLaren. We'll go ahead and just take a look at some of these other drivers. We'll go on board with Alpine. We haven't seen a lot of this mid-pack. And there's an Aston Martin going wide. Both Aston Martins have some kind of what out. Reaper. Last moment of this race here. We'll go on for remember with the overtake. He does not have a lot of battery left. He's out of DRS. Yep, got the DRS gone. He is out of DRS. You can see it ever so slightly off the unit there. Are we going to see an overtake? Gets another 10-second penalty. Not the race for him. I think that's his AI actually said it. Go, but Dalton gets another 10-second penalty for track limit. That is going to drop him out of the podium position. Suat will actually go ahead and hold on to a podium position. He gets another penalty. We'll have to see, but as it sits right now, oh, contact! Lots of contact there between Suat and inside. Suat touching the back window. Inside that, a lot of times Ferrari. Not sure what happened there. I think it was a bit of an overtake there. Man, oh man, that could have been a disaster. That could have taken both. We up to the final 2 laps. Penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That we've had here today. Now, if I were Dalton, I would honestly just push as hard as humanly possible to go ahead and try to kind of build that gap up to Insight. Got a 3-second gap to Insight, so that will drop him down, but that will drop him to P4 currently with the other penalties applied. So, maybe behind Ewok, I think he's just enough for Ewok. As you see, average is going to pass in the AI ghosted car of folks. The AI Haas goes into no real impeding going on here. So they're just going to drive through Casper, the friendly Haas on track. We're going to go ahead and see maybe a battle here for the race win, although the penalties are going to come in the gate. That race win of Dalton. Insight and Stewart. Oh, but Insight gets a little squirrely on the exit from the Williams. Put your car in. Your Insight a little bit again. That's now pop jumping like we're in NASCAR at the moment. Surprised we haven't seen the Insight fly off. These cars are wicked close to each other. And we're going to definitely see an overtake coming into turn 1. He doesn't have the inside line, but he's still going to fight it. Insight going to fight it. He still somehow holds on. And on the brakes for Stewart. He starts to left his grip, and he goes a bit wide on here. Over the Williams. He's going to get past the ghosted Haas there. Now he's going to go back. Right there. They're trying to get away from the podium here. Although with penalties and Dalton's penalties being 6 seconds, it might still be a podium regardless, but he wants that on-track positioning. But actually, if they're not careful, Dalton's penalties could hold up. Because it's about 2.5 seconds now between Stewart and Dalton. Dalton has 6 seconds of penalties. Ooh. That can mean that there's another massive incident. He goes wide. Stewart goes wide. I think if he goes wide one more time across track limits, that's going to be a penalty. Really off him out of the podium spots. Promoted up to P2, regardless of how this race finishes. Going on the last few corners now. Next step here. Abney wins here in Japan, followed by Dalton. Now we'll see where Insight finishes. If there's going to be a battle, that will go ahead. 2. And Dalton P3 Stewart just does not quite get enough done to go ahead and finish on the podium. With Reaper going ahead and finishing 5th, and 6th. Rec Room will get another penalty for, I think that's actually all the third penalties now. As Rec Room does get the fastest up of this race, that will be an extra point if it is counted. Then finishes P7 on those 8-lap-old mediums. We'll take a look again at the penalties. As Dubsy goes ahead and finishes P7. Penalties going ahead and moving Ben Hardy up. That is the end of round 4 here for Group 3 here at Rush. And man, oh man, that was a spicy race here at Japan. Japan never disappoints when it comes to the beautiful on-track action. We're just going to go ahead and wait for the remaining drivers to go ahead and finish. And I think we're really just waiting on this timer to run out. A minute 40, but man, that was an exciting race. Like I mentioned, you guys need to leave a thumbs up on this video. Go ahead and subscribe, turn on notifications, because we have some excellent racing again throughout the rest of the season. Your winner is that McLaren right there. Abney, he won, Duffy getting the in-game driver of the day. He made quite a few positions from getting disqualified in qualifying. Podium celebration here. It was a very well-deserved drive. Avni giving out copies of F124 to the virtual crowd. And it is an excellent race there for the reserve drivers. Stepping in for McLaren. Beautiful stuff there from the current McLaren driver. And these drivers all deserve this podium. They deserve to celebrate a bit. Spraying that virtual champagne all across the track. Excellent, excellent stuff there from all of these drivers. We're going to go ahead and pull up the race results here once this podium celebration finishes. All right, so to walk you through your podium or your finishing positions if it loads in time. We'll have to go ahead and see. Once it pops up, I'm going to have to definitely speed run this, although it looks like we're just going to get sent back to the menu. But your top three are Avni, Insight, and Dalton. Those are your top three drivers. We're just going to go straight back to the lobby then, it so seems. And yeah, what an excellent race here in Japan. Awesome drives up and down the grid. Stay subscribed to this channel. Check out our socials so you don't miss a thing. And we will see you guys next week for Group 1 here and LSR. My name is Ruckus, and I've been your commentator for today. And we'll see you guys next time. Have a good evening, everyone.